Well, hello everyone, and welcome to Hogarth's Global Astrology. Know your planets, know yourself, or know your nation, know yourself. All right, so this is a reflections. I've not done a reflections video for quite a while actually, and oh gosh, today is the day of the lunar eclipse. Yeah, I'm just looking here at the computer, and it's saying here it's actually happening in 1 hour and 13 minutes. Yeah, from now. Quite literally, I'll turn the camera around. I'm doing this on my mobile phone for a change, and I don't know if you can see it here, but look, there's the, you see, there it is, the time ticking down right now. Hopefully you can see that. And I just feel, in a way, this is going to be a little bit of a stream of consciousness kind of thing, because, you know, I've been talking quite a lot about these eclipses coming up. The next solar eclipse, by the way, is partial solar eclipse, and that is going to be happening on the 21st of September, because the eclipses happen about 2 weeks apart, and it's mainly covering South Australia, Pacific, Atlantic, and Antarctica. This lunar eclipse, when I'm just checking on this website here, is covering Europe, Asia, Australia, Africa, West and North West in North America, East in South America, Pacific, Atlantic, Indian Ocean, Arctic, Antarctica. So, I mean, that's touching pretty much the whole world. And as you guys know, eclipses, essentially what do eclipses do? They bring things out of the dark. They bring things out of the dark. They develop energies. They can be like a slingshot in a way. As you've heard me say before, eclipses are much like escalators. And I hope you're liking the video quality, by the way. I've got a new phone, and I just thought, oh, you know, it'd be nice to kind of for some reason when you do the lives, even though I do it in like over 10,000, what's it, 10,050 kind of pixels, sort of like HD, sort of like quality. I just find the live playback, it just seems to be quite pixelated. So anyway, I'm doing this on my mobile phone. I'm actually using my front camera. The back camera would be even better, but I just need to see myself when I'm talking to make sure that everything is centered and all of that kind of stuff. But there is a lot going on in the world, guys. There is a lot going on in the world. You've heard me talk about this. We are in some of the most consequential times here on planet Earth. We really are. And I've been looking at a lot of stuff. I've been looking at a lot of obviously fellow YouTubers doing their bits and bobs, independent media. My kind of, particularly with US news, you know, when I'm catching kind of mainstream media, it's normally what I've seen kind of as snippets reported on independent media, because the truth is essentially mainstream media is essentially bought out. Yeah, it's bought out. It's a corporate entity, and again, for entertainment purposes only, but it truly is. There is so much that is not discussed on the mainstream media. There are so many conversations that are not being had. But as you guys heard me say before, I said come 18th/19th of October 2025, Jupiter sidereally in the sidereal astrology becomes exalted. Yeah, in Western tropical, of course, they're 24 degrees ahead. So that it's in Cancer there already, but this is when it officially happens. And you will remember me saying, I said, this is when the illusion and the delusion really will come to an end. I mean it. It's already the illusion and delusions of the last years, as it were, particularly in regards to kind of MAGA, but not just that, just the whole political construct. It's all starting to fall apart, isn't it? When we look at the jobs numbers, for example, do you remember Duck Larange, you know, went and, cancelled, sacked the person who gave him accurate data. Do you remember that? Gave him accurate data, got that person sacked. Now, but then the jobs figures, I think, came out yesterday, something like that. And of course, it's dire. Yeah, it's not good. Because eclipses have a habit of bringing out the truth, especially uncomfortable truths. Lunar eclipse, the moon deals with the public. Yeah, so what happens with lunar eclipses, things emerge into the public consciousness or collective that may have not been so well defined before. I was just watching Steve Judd, actually. He was, now he's a Western astrologer, famous Western astrologer, vintage, yeah? Obviously, you know, he's brilliant. Like I said, Western astrology, you know, I always say a good astrologer is a good astrologer. If they're talented, you know, they're going to arrive at very similar conclusions. But of course, in Western, it's in different signs. However, there is an overlap of about 6 degrees. So anything that is happening late tropical astrology, like beyond 26 degrees, call it 27 degrees and beyond, when you take off the 24 degrees, it's still going to fall into the same sign. So what is really interesting is that everything that is unfolding is happening for a divine purpose. Yep, everything that is unfolding for a divine purpose. And everything is unfolding the way it is because many people need to wake up. Many people need to wake up. They are waking up. More people are waking up, but everyone has to wake up. And this is what is happening over these next 6 months or so. Because there has been a lot of pretending. There has been a lot of, frankly, silliness, willful ignorance, and frankly, rank stupidity. Yeah. Not just around, it's just ridiculous, isn't it? It's just ridiculous. This situation is not sustainable. What is coming into the public consciousness now, particularly in the United States, is the dire state of the US economy. The mainstream media has not wanting to be talking about this so much, yeah? Because of the Trump bandwagon and all of those different things, which again is understandable, yeah? Duck L'Orange has been able to essentially get the algorithm to work in his favor, yeah? Because he's such a constant in the news. He's so outrageous, so ridiculous, so controversial, so unpredictable, so wild, that he has been able to grip, you know, the consciousness previously, you know, of the United States, and now because of the tariffs, the whole world. But guess what? Things are changing. And the whole world is not playing ball anymore. He has upset so many people, and he's done so much damage. And a lot of the people that support Trump, but particularly the billionaires, yeah, let's talk about the billionaires. Didn't they just have a dinner recently, yeah, hosted, I think, by Melania, and you saw, you've got your, again, for entertainment purposes only, you got your Peter Thiels, you've got your Elon Musks, yeah. You've got your Curtis Yarvin, who is the Svengali of so much of this, who wants to see people turned into biofuel and all of this stuff. Someone was asking me to look at his chart. I just looked at his chart, but he's just so sickeningly evil. I almost don't even want to look. Then you got the J.D. Vance, who's just there licking his lips. Yeah, he's been measuring the curtains since he became vice president. Duck L'Orange didn't even want him. He was forced to have him. because of course that was what the big money wanted, the big tech wanted. This is why they were standing there literally shoulder to shoulder with Duck L'Orange, with Trump. And obviously those of us that are switched on, which of course is you guys, and most people that are not in the MAGA cult, saw it for what it was. Yeah. And obviously the word fascism has been bandied around a lot, but, and obviously, people are using that a lot. But as you guys will know, who've been watching me for years, I've been talking about this for ages. I said, we are now going into a time that is going to feel very similar to the 1930s. And I've been saying this years ago, when I was talking about the transit of Pluto into sidereal Capricorn. Of course, in Western tropical, they have it in Aquarius because they're 24 degrees ahead, but it's actually happening in sidereal Capricorn, which is the sign of corporations, government, business, rules, regulations. Pluto is what? The god of the underworld, yeah? Pluto, particularly in his early stages, particularly when he's less than 15 degrees, will really show, because basically in Vedic astrology, we have different maturities of the planets. Yeah, so you've got basically sort of like adolescent childhood stage of a planet. You have its mature adulthood stage of a planet, and then you have its elderly phase. So to roughly approximate, basically, whenever a planet is sort of like in the first, I would say first 7 to 10 degrees, it's very, very young. Yeah, it's impulsive, it's rambunctious. Its energy can be quite unruly, a bit more unpredictable. Let's say from 10 to 25 degrees. Yeah, this is when it's like adult. Yeah, it's grown up, with 15 degrees being one of the best placements to have a planet. Yeah, because it's right in the middle of the house. It's neither too old nor too young. It has a lot of power. Yeah, so planets that sort of like, let's say 14, 15, 16, 17 degrees, very, very, very powerful planets. Once a planet gets to sort of like above 25 degrees, then it really is starting to get much more mature. And it's just older. Yeah, it's just a more mature energy. So once you start getting to the 26, 27, 28, 29, 29 being the last degree of a sign, these are often referred to as anaretic degrees. Yeah, they're very mature. Anyway, why am I saying this? And I think it's part of the eclipse energy. I'm Cancer rising, as everyone who watches me knows, in Vedic, which means my chart is ruled by the moon. So the eclipses affect me a lot, and I've just been feeling it, just these waves and waves and waves of thoughts and emotions and insights and all of this kind of stuff. And in a way, it doesn't surprise me that I'm shooting this now with, just an hour to go. Actually, it's now 12, 11, 10. It's counting down, and then we're literally going to go into that hour of the eclipse. And I've just been reflecting, and we are at a very, very important time in humanity. We really are. We as human beings, we have got important choices to make. And it can't just be the passive same old anymore. We have to consciously choose a different future. Because frankly, in the likes of, Peter Thiel, like I said, Elon Musk, Curtis Yarvin, who's the other one? The one who is the Sam Altman, who is the boss of ChatGPT, at the White House there, grinning and kissing, you know what, in the White House, thanking Trump, thinking, oh, thank you for, we're gonna be investing so much in the United States. We're going to be setting up our data centers and all of this stuff. Thank you for your leadership and whatever. Basically, what that translates is is as, oh, thank you for the big beautiful bill, which is the big ugly bill. Thank you for giving us carte blanche to basically do whatever we want. Thank you for basically making us untouchable for the next 10 years. Thank you for giving us carte blanche to set up these data centers wherever we want, where to pillage, use as much energy and water as we like to further our ambitions of, technocratic neo-oligarchy, and turning everyone into serfs. Because guess what? I've got the technology, with ChatGPT Part 5, which I think is doing the rounds now, and I'm going to use that, and my colleagues are going to use it to end everybody's job so nobody will have nothing. Thank you, Mr. President. Yeah? This is insanity. I've been saying this to friends and family and stuff, and I've been saying on my channel, but listen, the elites have gone insane. They are crazy. This is crazy talk. If you are a billionaire, you are a billionaire because people buy your stuff, buy your products. Yeah, they use their pounds, they're spending their pounds, their dollars, their rupees, whatever. Yeah, they're buying stuff. And these people are billionaires because they found a way to harness the spending power of many, 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 many people. Now, with Amazon and all of that kind of stuff, you can understand. Yeah, he delivers, Mr. Bezos, delivers all around the world. Yeah. Funding imports, exports, etc. All of these various different kind of bits and bobs. Yeah. And that has its pros and cons. Yeah, if you're an independent trader trying to get by without Amazon, that's a bit more tricky. Yeah. But at least with the manufacturing and this, that, and the other, it's businesses, people buying things, selling things. What is happening with Sam Altman and ChatGPT 5, which they are rolling out, and now they're saying they want to kind of upskill all these companies, and you're going to get a training certificate, and you're gonna be part of it, yeah, training it even more, yeah, so that anyone, people already are training the ChatGPT of how to get rid of everyone's jobs. That's their goal. Yeah, that's their goal. And I'm not saying that it's all evil, etc. and stuff like that. But what I'm saying is just that we as human beings, we need to be so careful with this stuff. We need to be so careful with this stuff because it is always sold as some great convenience to all of humanity, isn't it? Do you remember they said the same about social media? Oh, it's going to bring everyone together. You'll be able to talk with your friends and family from all over the world. Yeah, it's true. It's true. But it also uses what? They use the algorithms as well to what? Divide and conquer. Yeah, pit different groups against another. Certain people's rhetoric is dialed up. Other people's rhetoric is dialed down. And in general, the stuff that is dialed down is the stuff that is positive. It's the stuff that the light workers are doing. Yeah, because they don't want everyone to become free and aware and autonomous and to understand what's going on and to join the dots. They don't want that. Yeah, they want to sow confusion. They want to sow hate. They want to sow anger, division. Yeah, because if we keep squabbling with ourselves, then of course they continue to have their dominion because, like I said, they've gone insane. The power's gone to their head. One of the things that they were discussing when Steve Judd was being interviewed, and I think I touched on it. Someone sent me a question in my last show. Was the hot mic moment between Xi Jinping and Vladimir Putin speculating? I didn't know this until maybe I'm hearing it third hand, but apparently they were talking about being able to live to 150 years old. Yeah, because they can get replacement of organs and all of this kind of stuff. It's always the same with these people, whether they're technocrat or conventional dictator or whatever, they all want to live forever. They all want dominion over everything and everyone. They want to absolutely own everything. And it's this megalomania. It's a sickness, like I said. This greed that we see being facilitated in the world is a sickness. It is a physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual and financial sickness. They're insatiable. And they just want to keep going and going and going and going until one of them becomes a trillionaire. Then they're going to try and out trillionaire the other one. And they think, what, AI is just going to keep producing endless profits forever, when the profit and all of this stuff, it comes from people. It comes from people actually doing a job, doing work, producing something, selling something, whether it's a physical object or it's their ideas, the money moving around, the world. We're in a global system now. But it's people that produce profits. What they've done is they've just harnessed that. Yeah, they've created systems by bribing politicians and various different forms of technology and stuff. And don't get me wrong, not all technology, of course, is bad. Some of it has been very, very useful. But we are now in the stages now of peak capitalism, where all of this stuff has gone way too far. Now they are talking about replacing human beings altogether. Yeah, and you got Sam saying, well, it's just like the Industrial Revolution, people's jobs changed, but everyone adapted, everyone got new jobs. Yeah. And there might be some parallels there. Yeah, we had the Industrial Revolution, but a lot of people lost their jobs once the machines came in. It took us away from the land. Yeah, that was the whole point of it. Took us away from the land. We had kings and serfs before, taken away from the land, and then everyone moved into the factories, and then we got manufacturing, then we got exporting and stuff like that, which has been happening, of course, for like thousands of years. But once we kind of reached the 19th and 20th centuries, and particularly with the British Empire, which is where Britain at that time was the manufacturing hub of the world. Look at all the conquering and all the pillaging and all that stuff that's happened since then. Britain fell, and now America is that next empire. However, what is so interesting is that I'm seeing more and more people, because I remember saying this on my financial astrology and my main channel, but I'm seeing, especially now, because the consciousness is waking up. And it's understood now by a lot of people that the average empire lasts about 250 years. And it is astonishingly consistent. Now, obviously, there's some ancient empires which lasted far longer than that. The Greek Empire, the Babylonians, etc., all of that stuff. But those were different times. Yeah, those were times when actually the consciousness was actually higher. Yeah, we're just coming the other side of a time period called Kali Yuga, which has been about a period of around about 2,000, sort of like 800 years or so. Let me just double check with that illustration. I have to double check myself. You guys have seen me get out this illustration before, showing the Yuga cycle. Yeah, 2,400 years or so, yeah. Anyway, if we look here, yeah. This is the illustration you guys have seen in my book. So you see Kali Yuga is down here. Now, there are different ways that it's divided up. Yeah, some people divide it up into sections of 3,000 years, etc. There are different ways of dividing it up. But the consensus now is that we are out of Kali Yuga. Yeah, Kali Yuga is the age of iron, when human consciousness is at its lowest. This is really a time when there was, where, in a sense of a kind of an oligarchy industrial oligarchy became possible. Let's just put it that way. Yeah. And, we also had the Renaissance and stuff like that and different things. And, but also as well, the Abrahamic religions also got a lot stronger at that time as well. Patriarchy and many of the systems and all of that stuff, which is, of course, starting to break down now. Yeah. Now it's raising in the consciousness of a lot of people. And now I'm hearing a lot of independent YouTubers start to talk about this cycle. Yeah. Now, of course, particularly if you're someone in America, you don't need me to tell you how old the country is. Yeah. But just in case, for those watching may not be sure, America is now 249 years old. It's going to become 250 next year. Yeah. July 4th, 2026. Yeah. Because the country was, the Declaration of Independence was 1776. Yep, 6:30 p.m. Philadelphia. That's the chart that us Vedic astrologers use, and a lot of Western astrologers use as well. And the reason why I use that chart is because it works very, very well. So we are in very interesting times. Trump's policies and the consequences of Trump's policies are now dawning on the American public. I saw something on an independent YouTube news channel, which was reporting on the recent conservative conference. Yeah, that happens in the States. It's basically MAGAville meets, the back door of the Klan and, whatnot. But anyways, all these conservatives, speakers and religious, folk and blah, blah, blah. Not that there's anything, look, I'm not anti, religion, but, it's used, it's been co-opted so many times, hasn't it? I'm about spirituality, astrology, yeah, the tarot, looking at patterns, astronomy, yeah, that kind of stuff. And what was being reported, which was so interesting, was that this conference was virtually empty. There was hardly anyone there. This, everyone's been there wearing their red hats and their blah, 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 and hey, woo, Trump, woo, make America great again, blah, 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 blah. Empty. This conference that they were showing could easily have sat 500 people, and maybe there was, 70 people there? If that, it may have even been less. Apparently Steve Bannon spoke at this thing, and his speech has not even been uploaded. The whole thing has been underwhelming. And this person that was reporting on this was reading on a journalistic report, yeah? Talking about the lacklusterness of this event. And the reason why this event is empty, or virtually so, is because the reality check of the US economy is now becoming apparent to people, isn't it? All these people like, oh yeah, Trump's going to give us, a $600 paycheck, they were told. This, and this. Oh, no, it's the other countries that pay the tariffs. We don't pay the tariffs. Oh, no, the American people don't pay the tariffs. That's the other countries that pay the tariffs. And everyone's, yeah, ooh, tariff. Whoopee, whoopee, whoopee. Yeah. And those of us with sense have been like, what? That's not how a tariff works. A tariff is a tax on consuming. Tariffs are tax. A tax that's collected by the government, who taxes people, companies that import goods from other countries. The literature on tax is hundreds of years long. Not all tariffs are bad, but you have to be nuanced with them. Yeah? It's like dealing with something highly toxic. Yeah? Poison in the right dose and in the right place can be a medicine. But poison liberally spread all over can what? Kill someone. And the toxicity of Trump is really starting to bite in now. And this is why this conference is empty, because guess what? A lot of those people that would normally be at these ridiculous places are going out of business. They are discovering, oh, wait a minute. Oh, dear. I'm not in the top 0.5%. Oops. Oh, my family member has just gone out of business. Oh, my partner's just gone out of business. Oh, man. Oh, there's no one to work the farms. Yeah. Remember, deport, 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 deport. All the criminals, deport, deport, deport. Now, now, now. ICE going around raiding every farm and school and this, that, and the other. Oh, guess what? No one to work the fields. Oh. Food unpicked, rotting on the ground, rotting on the trees. Ooh. Yeah, had to turn it over. What does that mean? Oh, prices go up. Farms go out of business. Yeah? Starting to get real, isn't it? A lot of people are like, why is my electricity bill so huge? Do you know how many videos I've seen of Americans crying into the camera saying like, I'm getting an $800 bill, $900 bill, $1,200 bill per month. And they're like, what's going on? You know what people are realizing? Yeah, those data centers, they use a lot of electricity and a lot of water. I wonder why everyone's electricity and water bills are going up. Yeah, it's because of Sam Altman and yeah, all of this, and of course everyone's using it. No one's none the wiser. It's the penny maybe is starting to drop a little bit, but guess what? Oh, turns out this AI and all this stuff, which is going to be getting rid of everyone's jobs, turns out it requires a tremendous amount of energy and water. This is why Doug Larange was talking about invading Greenland. It wasn't for no reason. And invading Canada, making Canada the 51st state. It's because he wants access to what? Their natural resources. All of that space. These data centers have to be kept cool. Yeah, because the computers run, they produce a lot of heat. Greenland's kind of cold, isn't it? When you think about it. It's only, 50-odd thousand people living there. Very cold place. You wouldn't even have to pay for cooling because it's already cold. You just put them up in the north. Same with Canada. Canada's a huge landmass, very cold as well. You could put all your stuff up there. So what the American public is discovering is that all of this stuff is being built on their back. Yeah. Americans are paying the bills. Oh, my thingamajig. I guess the battery on that doesn't last that long. Let me just kind of back myself up here a little bit. There we are. Let me just change that up. Good job I got a backup light, eh? But yeah, so many things are now emerging into the consciousness. The moon deals with the public. The public are starting to wake up. The public globally are starting to wake up about the dire consequences of AI. It doesn't mean that it can't do anything good. Of course it can do good things if they want to do it for good. Yeah, if they want to use it for good. If they want to use it for like diagnostics on cancer and issues with hereditary diseases and stuff, run it all through the computer. Yes, they can look at the cancer slide, and yes, the x-rays and stuff, and yes, the AI can pick that up much more readily than a doctor. But is that how it's being applied? Really? When in the United States, they're canceling all of they're canceling all the cancer programs, sending away all the students, particularly if they're critical about what's going on in Gaza. Yeah, and now they're saying, oh, but no, actually, we want 800,000 or however, was it 900,000 students to come from China now. So it's like, oh, wait a minute, wasn't that part of the thing of like make America first? Yeah, wasn't that supposed to be like getting rid of all the students so Americans could come in and take the jobs and stuff? Do you remember all that dialogue? And then the HB1 visa kind of stuff, and and then Really. It's about profit. These people are insane. They are so insane for their profits. They are prepared to torch the whole world, torch all of humanity, so that one of them can become a trillionaire. Elon, Tesla, apparently talking about him, his new package to try and make him a trillionaire. I mean, this is just ridiculous. This is ridiculous. No one needs $1 trillion when, people are starving. So they're literally robbing the poor and giving it to the rich. But the difference this time is that they've managed to get the poor to conspire against themselves, because they've exploited the prejudices and the ignorance of these people. Prejudice is extremely, extremely expensive. And if you are cheerleading for billionaires, you're going to be screwed in every orifice. It's as simple as that. Sorry to be so explicit, but it's true. There's no other word to describe what is going on. These people are insane. They are crazy. And we need to stop using their stuff. Now, look, we've got to be realistic. Yeah, here I am. I'm on social media there. This is YouTube, which is obviously, a big company and what have you. But it serves the whole world, yeah? And they've got enough business sense to understand this, that you can't cut off the whole world, yeah? People need to have the platform, because otherwise their business model would collapse. But what is happening now is the rude awakening, where those that previously were ignorant or complacent or just plain old lazy or just plain old prejudice and stupid, yeah, they are now finding out the consequence of this. And it's happening en masse, yeah? Lunar eclipse, the people. What is the moon? Real estate, family, food, yeah? Dinner on the table, that's the moon. Well, it's Venus as well, but this is why the moon is exalted in the sign of Taurus, yeah, which is the sign of food, eating, family, education, money. So of course, people are realizing, oh my God, how am I going to earn money when Sam Altman gets his way? Yeah, and basically outsources everyone's job to ChatGPT and is now training up Walmart. Yeah, Walmart and all these other ones. So if you work for Walmart, it's like, oh yes, you're gonna get the training. La 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 la. Yeah, so you'll have about 20 people doing 200 people's worth of jobs, if not more. What happens to all the people whose jobs are being destroyed or replaced by AI? What happens to them? What happens to an economy when no one can buy anything anymore? What happens then? What are they going to do? They're just going to sit in their little bunkers like, oh, goody, goody, goody. I'm a trillionaire. Let the Hunger Games begin. I can live out my darkest fantasies at last. And I'm not going to be touched, yeah, because I'm going to use AI, and we're going to use all of our AI, inspired robots, yeah, all of that stuff. You see some of those robots that Xi Jinping had on the back of his military parade thing? They call them robot wolves, yeah. I wonder why he's got those there. Oh, I wonder how that's going to be used, yeah? And the billionaires think that their money protects them. One thing, I've got a message for them. If and when society collapses, your billions will not protect you, because if you've got everyone against you, I guarantee you people will find a way to take you down. They're thinking of their bunkers. They're thinking they could keep the world out. But what if the world decides to keep you in? Maybe they just seal up the walls. Yeah, brick up the walls, brick up the entrances, and just leave them down there. Cut everything off. No internet, nothing, whatever. Be like, you stay down there, buried. Yeah. buried in your fortresses that were designed to keep everyone else out. And then the world just kind of moves on. And in many ways, the world is moving on because at the end of the day, we have 8 billion people on this earth. Yeah. And as Steve Judd was saying, you know, it's impossible to completely crush the human spirit. Yeah, you can have a good go at it, but these things always end in revolution in the end. They always end in revolution. And the person that was interviewing him made a very good point. And she said, you know, I've worked with a lot of these tech bros, yeah, and everyone thinks they're geniuses. And she said, they're not. They're not. They have a very narrow knowledge and expertise. She said they don't know anything about humanities. They don't know anything about history. They don't know anything about culture. Yeah, because it's like, you know, me and the tech, tech. Yeah. Chat GPT is going to do everything. Oh, I'm going to replace everyone's jobs and I'm going to be a trillionaire. Yeah, desolate landscape everywhere. What's the point? What's the point of being a multi-billionaire, having all of these fantasies about, you know, this, that, and the other, and there's no other human beings, and there's no world? What's the point? Like, really? You know, when you're down in your bunker and they'll just be like, well, the apocalypse is happening outside, only 10 years to go, and then we might be able to breathe the air. Oh, goody, but I'm a trillionaire. It becomes meaningless. Everything is context. You can only be or have the satisfaction, if they even ask, because they're not satisfied, but you can only have the satisfaction of being a billionaire because there are many other people in the world that are not. That's why they do it, yeah, because they want to feel superior. They want to feel up. They want to feel elevated at all times. They compete with each other to outmoney each other. Before, once upon a time, being a millionaire was, yeah, you'd made it. In previous time when we didn't have the ridiculous levels of inflation that we have now. A millionaire barely raises an eyebrow this day, doesn't it? It's like, old hat. Got to be a billionaire now. Do you remember the Temu adverts? Temu, which now can't deliver to the United States because of the ridiculous ending of the de minimis clause, which meant that anything under $800 was exempt from tariffs. Yeah, even if you order a piece of plastic, yeah, or you know, a crystal, yeah, let's say, or you know, a bit of obsidian like this, yeah, which would cost, I don't know, let's say it costs $9-10 or whatever from wherever it's being imported from. Now the de minimis clause has been ended. If that country that you're ordering from has a tariff slapped on it of 16% or more, you will pay a minimum of $80 to have something like that delivered. Even if it was a tiny piece of plastic or a stamp, yeah, or a little hinge to fix the corner of your spectacles or something, $80. And then it goes up from there. And then it goes, what, $80, I think $120 with something like $200. Yeah. What's that designed to do? Yeah. Who's that going to affect? Yeah. Everyone. Anyone that orders anything, particularly if you're an American citizen, anything from the outside world, you're going to be, that is a tax. Huge tax. And they say, oh yes, but all the manufacturing is going to come back. Trump's going to bring back manufacturing to America. Yeah, right. Is it happening? They showed some CNN survey the other day on manufacturing and stuff like that. And the woman was standing there doing her presentation on the screen, and she said, well, look, how many companies do you think have come back to the United States from overseas to manufacture in the United States? She says, how many? Yeah, she pressed the button. 0. Yeah? A big, fat Zero. What manufacturer in their right mind, including Apple, is going to bring all of their manufacturing to the United States, where their inputs, the costs of people's wages, jobs, time, blah, 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 would just make the product completely uncompetitive? Like, and you can't just set up an Apple manufacturing line in a few weeks. This stuff takes years. This has been happening over years. The manufacturing has been going overseas since the 80s, the 90s accelerated it a little bit, and then 2000s. This has been decades in the making. Because of course the corporations are chasing ever greater profits. This is why particularly the conservative aspect of there's words that need to be said about the Democrats, particularly how they treated Mamdani, but let's just put that to a side, put that to one side. This is why they unionize. They get rid of union jobs. Why? Because it helps protect people's wages so that they have a decent standard of living. It stops too many of those jobs going abroad. Yeah? But such is the profit motive, such is the greed of these corporations, that what they do is they get their donors, they get their lobbyists in to make sure that their wishes are heard first. And that's precisely what Duck LaRonge has done, and all of the cabal that is around him in this so-called big, beautiful bill, which really should be called the big bullshit bill, really, which are given the biggest tax deductions to the top 0.5% of people. And then they want to kill off the rest of everyone else's jobs by getting rid of de minimis. So it means, and also as well, even if Americans were prepared to spend $80 at least per package, because it deals with separate deliveries, So this is the absurdity of it. So say, like, for example, the tariff is like $200, but you got a massive shipment, one shipment filled with many different things. Okay, you might be able to kind of spread that out a little bit. But if you're an individual and you get a package from here and a package from over there and a package from over there, and it's coming from abroad, and they happen to be in a higher tariff country like China, where most of the stuff is coming from, Temu and all that stuff, or India or Brazil or what have you, you're going to be paying at least $80 per package, perhaps 100, perhaps 120, perhaps 200. Which basically makes delivering stuff to the United States virtually irrelevant. Which is why the last time I checked, up to 52 countries have cancelled selling their products or posting their products to the United States altogether. So what effect is that going to have on the haulage industry, the guy or gal that, drives the van to deliver the stuff? Because I've been hearing that they've just been getting laid off already, or hours much, much reduced. And this was a couple of weeks ago, before the de minimis even kicked in. That was already from the first tranche earlier on of the tariffs. Imagine now. That's just going to grind to a halt. Imagine all of the small businesses that rely on small shipments, to sell to their customers because it's toys or it's dog food or it's some item that they've had manufactured in China and then they sell it in the United States. It comes into their storage, but it was coming in under de minimis. This is sabotage. There's no other word for it. This is sabotage. They know exactly what they're doing. Trump may not know always what's going on. Because I mean, what does he care? His family have got $5 billion richer, like with a B. Some say 3.5, some say 5 billion. But either way, since he's been in office, him and his family have become multi-billionaires. Trump has always been a millionaire, but he was a billionaire on paper. We need to remember that. He was robbing Peter to feed Paul, moving things around, always trying to lobby to get himself higher up in the the Forbes list, blah blah blah, all of that stuff. Now, because of the crypto stuff, he's bona fide. He's made it there now, and then they're just going to keep going. But the thing is, this is not sustainable. All these lies that he keeps saying, like, oh, don't worry, oh, the prices are down. I'm bringing the prices down, and he gets his his daughter-in-law to stand up there with her fake lips and the hair and the one that wants to sing. What's she called? I can't remember her name. Oh no, there is no inflation. Really? Yeah, it's like George Orwell times, isn't it? What did he write? He said the state will basically tell you not to believe your lying eyes, yeah? Not to believe your eyes. Oh, everything's going down. Really? 40 plus dollars for 2 medallions of beef? I watch the videos. My clients tell me what is going on. Ground beef is gone through the roof. Tacos, ironically, which of course is Trump's nickname, which used to be a cheap meal, yeah, with some ground beef, a little bit of tomato, a little bit of spices, cook a bit of onion, cook that up and you get the tacos in. Cheap meal. Used to be a cheap meal, yeah? Not anymore. So what does that mean for shops and restaurants? He slapped a 50% tariff on Brazil the other day to defend his friend Bolsonaro. Imagine that. It's made coffee 50% more expensive, just like that, in a click. It's just ridiculous. These things can only happen when the elites have gone crazy and a good portion of those people that were supporting them. But that support is cratering, which is why that MAGA conference thing was virtually empty. And it didn't take long, did it? And you would have heard me saying before on my channels, and I was musing, we sometimes do this as astrologers. What's the most powerful planet? And you think Saturn, and you think of Jupiter, and you think of Mars, and this, that, and the other. And I've reached the conclusion it's Venus. Because Venus is wealth, yeah? Venus is money. Venus is food. Venus is security, yeah? People are prepared to put up with an awful lot if they think they're going to be financially secure, yeah? Or secure for food-wise, yeah? People are prepared to ignore an awful lot if they think they're going to get something out of it, yeah? Case in point that is unfolding. Oh, no tax on tips. Oh, turned out to be fake. Totally fake. And this is why I say the pocketbook screams the loudest. When people feel it in their pocket, that's when they wake up, because they were just ignoring all of the red flashing lights and everything about Trump. I mean, you don't need me to tell you all of his crimes, yeah? Most of it, he tries not to even deny it. And he was talking about what he wanted to do in the campaign, deporting everyone. But guess what? Nobody cared, because they thought they were going to get this. And they thought they were going to get rid of that. Yeah? Oh, I'm going to get this. I'm going to get rid of them. Oh, I'm going to be rolling in cash. Trump. Yeah? Now look. Stony silence. Only the lunatic of the lunatics of the lunatics, only the fleas on the last of the lunatics believe in Duck L'Orange. Yeah, that's why this conference is empty. And I welcome that emptiness of that conference, because a lot of the people that would go to these conferences are kind of sort of like thought leaders and influencers in their own sphere, which will continue to perpetrate the bullshit, yeah, that has been happening over the last few months. And that conference is empty, which means the reality check has kicked in, because they've realized that even if they've got money, wow, their life has become a lot more expensive, but their friends and families have been losing their shirts. Think of all these farmers that have voted for Duck L'Orange going out of business. And guess what? JD Vance just so happens to have a company that buys up farms. I can't remember what it's called. I might have to try and drop it in somewhere, but I can't remember what it is, but just look it up. In fact, and what I'll do is here now, because I've got my laptop here. Let me just, what is the company, JD Vance owns that buys farmland. See what happens. Oh, Acre Trader, that's what it's called. Yeah, JD Vance funded Acre Trader. Here's what matters. And this is civil. So JD Vance funded, here we are. So look at this. Just, I'm going to turn the camera around, a bit old school. Look. JD Vance funded Acre Trader. Here's why that matters. The real estate platform streamlines investing in US farmland. Now farms are fast becoming a portfolio staple for investors worldwide. Oh, surprise, surprise. Yeah, some of the most pristine farmland in California can be yours, at least by proxy, in just a matter of minutes. Yeah. So I hope that showed, because I had to turn the camera around. Do you see what this is all about? What people have been sold. The main reason for the deportations, why they were encouraging particularly red states and farmers in particular that voted overwhelmingly for Duck L'Orange, was so that they could get rid of their farm workers, so the crops couldn't be picked and all of this stuff. So they would go out of business so that JD Vance's friends and his technocratic, his Peter Thiels and, Curtis Yarvins and all these people could put those businesses out of business and then buy up their property on dimes on the dollar. So then they can have what? Control the food supply. And once you control the food supply and once you control the water, that is it. That's it. You have what? Serfdom. If they're going to even decide, it's, and this is why this is so important. And I think this is why I'm doing this thing right now. And I don't know, it's very candid and it's very sort of quite in your face. But the eclipse is happening right now, and I just feel this urge. I just have to talk about this. And I have been talking about this, but this is probably in more of my vociferous form. You could see there for yourself. Yeah. What's it called again? I can never remember it. Yeah, what is it called? Acre Trader. Acre Trader. Yeah. What's it called again? Yeah. Anyway, what I showed you. Yeah, this is the premise that Acre Trader, a company. So here you can see this is about the disenfranchisement of ordinary people. This is also as well with that corporate controlled media, again, for entertainment purposes only. This is, and it's emerged recently, this is why they are not showing the reports of mass protests on the TV, because they don't want to feed that loop, of people kind of going like, whoa, but it's not going to work. Yeah, it's not going to work. I've told people about the 18th of October. Yeah, I said 18th/19th of October, Jupiter is going to become exalted in sidereal Cancer. Yeah, and it's going to stand right on top of Trump's natal Saturn, planet of karma, in his 12th house of hospitals, endings, exile. Also as well, the 12th house is imports, exports. It also, Saturn is governments. This is also talking about foreign governments. This is why he's trying to keep so quiet about the Epstein stuff, is because it's not just him, it's all of his friends, all of his cohorts, everything will become revealed. This is why he's doing his best to cause trouble elsewhere, to distract everyone, why he's trying to do things on Venezuela, trying to start a war there. Anything to distract the people from what? His guilty not so secret secrets, but the secrets of everyone else that supports him. Yeah. Jupiter's going to be standing on that. And Saturn, transiting Saturn, is going through his 8th house of death. Yeah. Transformation. And like I said, we can't wish for death and stuff like that, but I'm just looking at what is going on in his life and what these transits mean and what is awakening in the people, because everyone now is the lunar eclipse is bringing everything out. Of course, there's been the Epstein victims and all of that stuff coming forward and all of that kind of stuff. But this is also the big wake-up call. One of the biggest ones is going to be the economy. And what they also say is, they say if the US government doesn't appeal the decision, you remember, by the court that basically said that the tariffs were illegal, the deadline for that is the 18th of October. You can't make it up. And if that lapses, we'll have to see. Because, you know, obviously he's going to try and take it to the Supreme Court, which is basically in his pocket. But I mean, they would effectively be breaking the law if they go along with this, yeah, because it's so obvious. But if that lapses, that means all the tariffs charged so far would have to be paid back. If that is the case, that is devastating. I mean, it's kind of good for, you know, people to get their money back. Duck L'Orange is not going to do it. Imagine the logistics of that. They've raised, what, how many billions? I don't think it's quite 100 billion yet, but let's just call it, to be generous, let's call it 100 billion. But it's up there in the billions, yeah? He said it was 8 trillion. Rubbish. It's not that much. It's many, many, many billions have been raised by these tariffs. Imagine if they have to pay them back. Think of what that's going to do to the debt. Think of what that is going to do to the perception of the United States around the world, which has already been seen as a complete basket case anyway. But imagine, that would be one of his cornerstone policies, one of his main tools that Duck L'Orange has used to intimidate the world and try to bend the world to his will, absolutely torn out. That is going to have a huge effect on the bond market, which is how the United States raises debt. Those bond yields are going to go up. And what that means is, for each person that buys American debt so that the America can raise money to basically keep itself going, the interest that they will have to pay on that will be much higher. That's what is called a bond yield. Ideally, in good times, stable times, a bond yield should be around about 2%, very conservative, yeah? Once it starts to get to above 3%, once we start getting 4, 4.5, 5%, 6, yeah, sketchy. Yeah, UK, we're in a similar pickle as well. I think our bond yield is 4.9%, something like that, which is hardly, you know, ideal. You know, we've got our own problems, so don't just think I'm America bashing. Like, we've got insanity over here as well. But like I said, we get the Downton Abbey version. Yeah, it's the Downton Abbey version. It's much more lace handkerchiefs and, you know, smelling salts and, you know, corseted, you know, Lady Mary kind of type stuff. Yeah. Anyway, I've been going on for an hour now, and it was a bit of a rant, but I just had to get that out of my system, because this is not sustainable. As I've been saying, this is not sustainable. I'm going to tell you here first. The US economy is in recession. It is. They're going to try and massage things to try and make it not look so bad, but it is. Now, technically, to be in recession, you have to go 2 quarters, yeah? 2 quarters of contraction. They're going to do everything they can, either spin it or inject money or whatever, to try and not have that happen. But it's already happened. What is going to happen is, by, like I said, 18th of October, because we see it already, it's going to become undeniable, especially if the US government has to pay those tariffs back, which will be a disaster for Duck L'Orange. Absolute disaster. So we will see a lot is unfolding. What I would say is, like I've been saying to everyone, and many of you who have watched me have done this anyway, which is really good. Get your plants and your veggies, yeah? Grow whatever you can. Many of you have done this, so I'm preaching to the choir. Make sure you got your rices in, your pulses, your this, that, and the other. Look after each other, check in on each other, keep abreast of the news. Don't lose faith, yeah? Come together. Stand up against this. Americans are doing this. And if we, keep doing it, and it just cannot be ignored forever. The world is watching. The world is paying attention. Yeah, the world is paying attention. So let's see what unfolds. But a lot of the scales are falling from the eyes, aren't they? A lot of the scales are falling from the eyes. And by the next eclipse, which is 21st, partial solar eclipse, that's going to be even 21st of September 2025. That's going to be even more revelations. Seeing it here in the UK as well. Angela Rayner's had to go. This one would have to go. All sorts is coming up out of the dark. But I will leave it there for now. Sorry for my kind of rant. But I had to get this out. And the eclipse is really, what is it now? Oh, look, 7 minutes. 7 minutes to go. It's here. I'm leaving it there, and you're going to see this uploaded. Hopefully it'll be up by tonight. Yeah? All right, so big love, everyone. Please, of course, be sure to like and subscribe and all that jazz. And I'm going to keep you posted on the developments to come, and I will see you in my next video soon. All right, bye-bye for now. Big love. Mwah! All right, see you. Cheers.